Jessica Stickle.
Thank you, everyone. It's a pleasure to start my morning with you, as always. As Kelly mentioned, the basis of my speech has to be on something I've gathered from others around me. Last week, actually a few weeks ago, Andrew inspired me. And then Nathan inspired me. They both use this phrase, I've developed an insecurity. Now, by the show of hands, can any of you relate to this? Do you feel like you have developed an insecurity? Right, as I thought about this concept, because it really took me by surprise, the verbiage. When I think of development, I don't think of it as a negative thing. I think of it as we personally develop and we're doing good things. However, when I sat back and thought about this, there has been times in my life where I felt like I've been on this bit of a roller coaster ride, even though my main intent probably has been to develop myself, just like all of you. So today, Nathan and Andrew and all of you, I hope to give some insight and shed some stories from other people and just phrases and things that will help you understand this whole thing we call personal development. So actually, let's just break it down. What does development mean? So the dictionary says that it's to grow or cause to grow or become more mature, to advance, to elaborate. So again, you can understand why I might have struggled with, why would we develop an insecurity? Because when I look at this phrase or this dictionary term, it seems to be something that's positive. It seems to be something that we want to invite into our life. And by all means, insecurity is not something I think of as wanting to invite in. So how does it show up? Well, that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. In research, I actually find that it's activated insecurity rather than developed. Yes, develop means to form, so things might form, but they can't form if there's not already a root there inside of us, which is being activated. To give you a better understanding of this, I've told you in the past, visual prompts help me, so hopefully this visual prompt can help you. But basically, this is us in a nutshell. We're constantly trying to learn and evolve in life. And as you notice, we drop and we may develop or activate an insecurity that's within us. And so when you're going up and your intentions are good, just part of the learning phase is that you will drop down. The good news though is that you can see it's on an uphill slant. So in general, you're always going to be going up, even though at moments you feel activated, that you've activated an insecurity or doubt or worry in your life. To better explain this to you, I'm going to break it down into 3 ways that you are activated. The first is life events. Now, I don't know about you, but if you're breathing, that means you're living life, and you're going to have some events. These events that can cause an insecurity would be death, right? If somebody leaves our life, that's going to shake us up. If we lose a job, that will shake us up. If we have some sort of fear that comes into place or phobia that we start to recognize, that will shake us up. And ultimately what happens when we have loss in our life is we start to develop some negative thoughts, right? Those negative things that we've thought about or personal beliefs that we've had that might have been buried away for a little while start to come up, and it makes us pause, and maybe it makes us go down on that loop, and we start to doubt not only ourselves, but we start to see the negative in other people. Now, research shows that typically time will cure this. Now, however, if you have some deep-rooted things in your life, some beliefs that you have not yet resolved, that will stay for a longer period of time. And that's when you need to engage in working through some of those beliefs that don't serve you, engage with family and friends that can remind you of the things that make you you, make you great. And lastly, just continue to persevere. Abe Lincoln here, 16th president, he not only lost his job, he failed at Senate, and he was demoted from Congress. This man experienced all of that before he became our 16th president. So if you want to combat and deactivate this activation of insecurity through these life events, you just need to continue to persevere. As William Charles stated, we're going to have those moments, but we keep trucking. All right, the second activator is going to be our social anxiety. We have to be around people. That's just how life works. Some of us are extrovert, and it's very comfortable, right, Brooke? And some of us are introvert, and we don't always have as easy of a time for this. Again, what happens is we start to activate these fears or this nervousness. We might feel it physically in our body. We might start to sweat. We might start to overthink something. We might just start to panic. Then the beliefs kick in. And once again, you have to learn to work through the beliefs. And the last one is confidence, not conference. Love autocorrect. And it's really just recognizing where you're at with your level of confidence. You've all known an experience where you felt very sure of yourself, and you've probably all had an experience where you felt not so sure of yourself. And recognizing where you are on that spectrum. And ways to deactivate this, the best example I can give you is the students that I work with. They come to me and they have all sorts of different insecurities or lack of confidence about raising their hand in class to get help with an assignment, or being with friends in the lunchroom and wanting to sit by somebody new. And the biggest thing that we talk about is talk back. You're typically not taught that in school, but you want to talk back to those thoughts. You want to realize that those thoughts don't have to be valid, and just because they come in doesn't mean that that's real. It just means that it's a thought passing through. And you want to pick out the thoughts that you have. You want to set goals. So for instance, if you go to a party, you want to say, you know what, I'm just going to focus on talking to 2 people today. That's it. I just want to, or if I come to a Toastmasters meeting, if we bring it back to speaking, I'm just going to focus on meeting 1 member today. And then lastly, you're going to want to continue to just observe people. You want to watch the people around you that have seemed to master this confidence and watch what they're doing and not compare yourself, but just notice. And lastly is this sense of perfectionism. Some of us just have very high standards. We like to control things, and we also, because of that, tend to internalize a lot of things. We put a lot of blame on ourselves, and that's not necessary. Because when we blame, we become more critical of ourselves, for sure, but of those around us, because that's the lens in which that we are now seeing the world through. You can know when somebody's comfortable with themselves because they're comfortable with you. They can be kind to you. And if they're not being kind to you, typically that means that they're probably not being very kind to themselves either. I always say, happy people help people, hurt people hurt people. To combat this, I want you to think of a gray puppy. Because puppies are snuggly and they're unconditional. You give them regard, and these are the things that you need to do to yourself. You need to not have black and white thinking. There doesn't have to be a right or a wrong. There can be gray. You don't have to say, I'm only going to love myself if I lose my 10 pounds or my 20 pounds. I'm going to say, you know what, I love myself anyway because I'm doing a TED Talk and I got up here and I want to celebrate the things that are going right for me in my life. And lastly, you just want to recognize that sometimes it's just about the effort that you're putting in, not so much about the outcome. To close, I just want you to know, we learn by listening 10%, we learn by watching 20%, but we learn most by doing. So continue to get up here and speak, Andrew, and speak, Nathan. Because reward comes in action, and action is the most valuable asset to success. Thank you.